Okay.
All right, here we go. Girl behind the camera. It's all her fault because she wanted for me to teach her how to do this, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Anyway, I've shown you predication, subject versus a predicate. I've shown you modification. In other words, there's modifiers modifying various parts. And then I also showed you coordination, which makes things get so complicated when you've got compound subjects, or you've got compound predicates, or you've got compound modifiers, or you've got compound clauses. Now you can have something really complicated looking. But one of the things that's held me back in my sentences is you don't know about prepositional phrases. I did show you about phrases. I mentioned Mark Twain. That takes 2 words to give that subject. Come on, guys. For me to concentrate, you got to be watching. Mark Twain, and then more importantly, a verb phrase. I said has written. That's 2 words in order to make the simple predicate. Now, a word on the helping verbs. It would be worth it to come over and look at this. This is online, this chart. You can find it. These helping verbs, you need to recognize these. Otherwise, you'll get in a sentence and you won't know what those words are doing. They're not modifying, they're helping. I'll tell you more about them later. But now, prepositions. Don't go away. Over here still. These are the prepositions pretty much in the English language. There's most of them. And they are really cool because all of a sudden your sentence can look so full. Prepositional phrases make up so much of speech. So let me show you how they're diagrammed. If you would take a simple subject like the man. The would of course go here. It's a modifier. And here would go man. Now, the man behind. I could say the man behind lost. Where was the man? Well, this maybe is a good example. But if I would say behind, well, which man? The man behind. I would put it here. But behind happens to be one of those words that can be an adverb or an adjective, and it can also be a preposition. Now, if I say the man behind the door, behind the door. Door completes that preposition. It's called the object of a preposition, and that's the way you do it, the man behind the door. If I said he shouted, he shouted. All right, there's the thing he did, there's the simple predicate. Well, it's the same thing. I could say he shouted from, or I could make it scream. The guy was terrified. He screamed from the bottom of his soul. He screamed from what? From the bottom. And here that's modified by the. And watch this. What kind of bottom? The one of his soul. So here we've got a prepositional. It's acting like a modifier. But now here goes another prepositional phrase. Of soul. Of his soul. Whoops. Yeah, I got that right. So here we've got a prepositional phrase modifying a noun. Which man? Behind a door. Here we've got a prepositional phrase modifying a verb. Screamed. Where? From the bottom. Here we've got a prepositional phrase modifying a noun once again. And his soul in darkness. I mean, we could just go on, and once again you can have a sentence that becomes ludicrous if you just have prepositional phrases modifying the objects of prepositions. Still, one other thing I think to show you here is a prepositional phrase. All parts of a sentence basically can be compound. And if I said that this man, the man ran out the door and yard. So he ran out the door. Well, that would be the door. But if he ran out 2 things, the door and porch and yard, well, then you would split this. And now we have got a compound object of a preposition, door and yard. And here you'd put the and. So, and of course, you could modify the door in the house, the yard on the block, and on it could go. So prepositional phrases are actually, they're not hard concepts. I don't think at all. But you do have to know your prepositions. You've got to recognize these right away and realize that is a preposition. That's the reason why in 6th grade, typically, I think in American schools, kids memorize the prepositions. They memorize them in alphabetical order, at, about, across, above, or something like that, and on they go. There's about 40 of them. So you got prepositions now. They act like modifiers, but now they're phrases that do it. And they have got objects of the preposition. They can modify each other. Seems like a lot, but there we go.